key, all gas, no brakes, baby, let them hoes sleep. Body on 10, make your girl OD. I get in my way, never out of my lane. Feel like you the one and I'm on one. So what it's gonna be? Baby, squad up, we finna go deep. Riding on a team, got what you need. Baby, won't you keep me company? Give me something to do when I get lonely. I got something for you when we get home. If you let me put it down, when I hit the town, you should ride on me. Keep your minds on me. On try, baby, I think you should side with me. Stay solid one time if you lie with me. Just promise you never lie to me. Keep the moves on tuck. I know it's all love. Everything good. Keep the vibes on crush. I know it's all good. Know it's all love. Know it's all love.
Is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well, it does not matter who the host is, that is for sure. Today's Monday, November the 15th of 2021. Yes, day 319th of the year, and only 46 days left to go before it is all over with. That is for sure. Anyways, we are broadcasting live from the Fisherman Village. Yeah, that's what we're actually doing. And then we are broadcasting across the multiverse of Safety FM and hanging out with our friends and our colleagues at that place that we do a lot of other stuff at. You know, that place over there for sure.
Radio.
And we are hanging out with our friends at RadioBig.fm doing the things that they do because, you know, it's always a fun time when we get to hang out and do all kinds of fun stuff. If not, you know, exactly what are we doing and not doing and all that other kind of things all together. Anyway, so let's start talking. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the news as we are hanging out. So if this is your first time, so maybe let's talk about that real quick. If this is your first time hanging out with us, let me kind of explain the lay of the land. The land is much different than most. We kind of come in, we hang out, we talk about what's going on inside of the world of the news. We bring in some professional broadcasters. They talk about what exactly is going on. And then I come back and give you my versionality of how I understood it, because that's the way the cookie crumbles. Anyway, so let's start talking about what was trending over the weekend. Saturday was World Kindness Day. Steph Curry was trending on Saturday after he took a record for the most three-pointers scored in an NBA games, including playoffs and in NBA history. The top sport was previously held by Ray Allen with 3,358. Curry now holds the record of 3,366. Another thing that was trending over the weekend was hashtag Taylor on SNL was trending over the weekend as Taylor Swift performed on Saturday night's episode of Saturday Night Live. More on that later on. Maybe on the Rated R, maybe on Radio Big. I don't know if we'll talk about that here. We'll discuss that as we go. Also, what else was trending? Sunday was National Seatbelt Day and National Pickle Day. So does it mean that you're in a pickle if you're stuck wearing a seatbelt? I mean, don't get me wrong. I am so pro seatbelt, it's not even funny. That's a whole other story. We can have that conversation later on. Mr. T was trending yesterday after tweeting that he had received the COVID-19 booster. He added he added that even though that he had a triple vaccine, that he would still wear a mask and social distance. So there you go. That's good old Mr. T saying the stuff. His little whole shindig there. And then also Bernie landed on Twitter's top 10 trends on Sunday after Elon Musk burned Senator Bernie Sanders on the platform. More on that on a Twitter exchange, and we'll talk about that more than likely inside of the swamp. So there you go. That's what's going on right away. I think we should get moving and grooving, and maybe we should find out what our friends and colleagues are doing at Feature Story News and talk about all that stuff. Because, that's always importante when we are hanging and doing all those kind of fun things. I mean, I don't know. What do you think about? I mean, I think it's important. Let's get to it now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Austria's introduced a lockdown for unvaccinated people as the country faces a resurgence of COVID-19. It has one of the lowest vaccination rates in Western Europe. Trent Murray reports.
Under the new targeted lockdown, unvaccinated people will only be allowed to leave their home for essential reasons, like going to work or to get groceries. The measures will affect around 1 in 4 Austrians and includes groups aged 12 and up. Police are being deployed to issue fines of up to €1,400 for those caught breaking the rules. Defending the controversial measures, Austrian Chancellor Alexander Schallenberg said it was the government's job to protect public health and urged people to get vaccinated to avoid being caught up in the new rules. Trent Murray, Berlin.
US President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping are preparing to hold a virtual summit in a bid to ease growing tensions between the two world powers. Jagruti Dave reports from Washington.
Joe Biden has spoken over the phone with Xi Jinping, but this will be their first virtual meeting. Ahead of the highly anticipated event, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken had a call with his Chinese counterpart, Foreign Minister Wang Yi. According to a US State Department readout, Mr. Blinken expressed concern regarding China's continued military, diplomatic and economic pressure against Taiwan. And that is just one of the contentious topics the two sides are at odds over. There could be some consensus reached on climate change following the US and China's surprise pledge to work together on cutting emissions at the COP26 summit in Glasgow. But both sides appear to have set low expectations for the leaders' meeting, sending the message that it's unlikely to yield any major outcomes.
A 9-year-old boy has died after being hospitalised following the crowd surge at the Astroworld Festival in Texas. Ezra Blount had been on life support since the 5th of November concert. 3 men are being held under the Terrorism Act after a taxi exploded outside a hospital in Liverpool on Sunday. Police have been carrying out searches in the city. Tom Dunn reports from Liverpool.
It happened just before the 2-minute silence yesterday. A car engulfed in flames exploded outside the front entrance here at the Liverpool Women's Hospital. 1 man is confirmed to have died, and another, who we believe to be the taxi driver of the vehicle that exploded, is in a stable condition in hospital with multiple injuries. 3 men have been arrested under the Terrorism Act, and Merseyside police also went to another house in the early hours of this morning with armed police and negotiators at a house on Rutland Avenue. Chief Constable of Merseyside Police Serena Kennedy has reassured the public and community leaders here of the operation that is currently ongoing. Tom Dunn at Liverpool Women's Hospital.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking today at the anxieties of climate change activists over the outcome of the COP26 UN summit in Glasgow. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, hosting the event, has praised the Glasgow Climate Pact, but conceded his enthusiasm for the agreement is tinged with disappointment, though he insisted it does sound the death knell for coal to be used as a primary energy source. But Tessa Khan, environmental lawyer and director of Uplift, a climate pressure group, says the conference needed to go much further.
It suits Boris Johnson and Alok Sharma to make it sound like a success to the degree that they're, celebrating it. And I think in some respects it's made some steps forward. But certainly given, we're in a climate emergency, it definitely hasn't put us on track, as Boris Johnson and Alok Sharma have acknowledged, for that critical 1.5 degree threshold. I mean, in short, if you look at what the current policies of governments are, we are still on track for close to 2.5 degrees of warming. You know, promises to do stuff in 20 years' time aren't what matters. What matters is what governments are committing to do right now. And on the basis of those commitments, we're still heading for around 2.5 degrees.
Both government ministers and activists agree that the disappointments of COP26 will put immediate pressure on preparations for COP27, due to be held in Egypt in November of next year. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, Austria's introduced a lockdown for unvaccinated people. US President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping are preparing to hold a virtual summit. A 9-year-old boy has died after being hospitalized following the crowd surge at the Astroworld Festival in Texas. And 3 men are being held under the Terrorism Act after a taxi exploded outside a hospital in Liverpool on Sunday. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets, and they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
I want to make sure that our family is protected in medical emergencies. What many of us don't realize is that health insurance won't always cover the full amount of an emergency medical flight. Even with comprehensive coverage, you could get hit with high deductibles and copays. That's why an Air Medcare Network membership is so important. As a member, if an emergency arises, you won't see a bill for air medical transport when flown by an AMCN provider. Best of all, a membership covers your entire household for as little as $85 a year. AMCN providers are called upon to transport nearly 100,000 patients a year. This is coverage no family should go without. Now, as a Jay Allen Show listener, you'll get up to a $50 e-gift card with a new membership. Simply visit airmedcarenetwork.com/safety and use the offer code SAFETY. And don't forget to tell them that Jay Allen sent you. Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation.
Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what could be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, there you go. If you believe in the world of magic, I guess we are there and doing some cool things there. But outside of that, if you don't believe in the world of magic, well, then that could potentially be an issue for you. Anyway, so let's get it moving and grooving as we are 15 minutes past the top of the hour as we are hanging out on this lovely, lovely, lovely Monday. Yes, I did say Monday because, you know, we don't want to end up with a case of the Mondays, but we'll talk about how it is Monday. But let's continue talking anyways. So taking it from the very top of the hit list of exactly what are the things that are going on, so let's do that right away. The Austrian government has ordered a nationwide lockdown for unvaccinated residents, as you already heard there on Feature Story News. An effort to combat the rising COVID-19 cases and deaths. The move prohibits unvaccinated people 12 and older leaving their homes, except for the basic activities such as working, grocery shopping, going for a walk, and getting vaccinated. I will tell you that if it's going for a walk is the thing, I'm sure that a lot of people will be walking. There you go. There's that one. The order will initially last for about 10 days. The lockdown affects about 2 million people of 8.9 million residents. So I don't know. I mean, how much walking can you pull off in a week without getting in too much trouble? Because that's gonna definitely be a thing. You know that. I know that as well. So let's just kind of not let's not play the game too much here as we are talking and moving and grooving. Why did that thing just do that? That's kind of a weird one. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things of what is going on. A lobster man from Maine caught a rare cotton candy colored lobster last week. Unlike the typical blackish brown hue of a lobster, this is one of these bluish pink ones. The odds of catching the rare sea creature is about 1 in 100 million, according to Mark Merle, CEO of Get Maine Lobster. The special lobster will now live out the rest of its days at the Seacoast Science Center in Rye, New Hampshire. So there you go. So hold on, you got caught in Maine, now you're going to New Hampshire. What a ride. Also, the man who caught the rare creature is named Haiti. Named it Haiti after its granddaughter. So here's my question, and maybe it's kind of a rude one to ask. If the actual lobster dies, who gets to eat the meat?
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so take a listen to this. Tourists are ruining the beach and the nature reserve in the in the reserve in Europe with their with their need to fornicate. I mean, that's just kind of really what it boils down to. The Dunas Masoplamas Special Nature Reserve in the Spanish islands of Gran Canaria is known for its sand dunes and its ripple behind the lighthouse perch and the seafront. But researchers looking into the deterioration of the dunes, which have been legally protected since 1982, said that the tourists are wreaking havoc on the area with cigarettes, condoms, toilet paper, wipes, and cans. Even after that, off the limits in the public was found that a sex pot, I tell you. So there you go. Author Patrick Hepps, who wrote the article, is finding out the conservation noted that his goals are bringing the attention to the issue and call to the end to public sex, but rather make people aware of the damage it can do. So hold on. So let's forget about the cigarettes here. Let's forget about the toilet paper. Let's forget about the wipes. Let's forget about the cans. But let's put the focus on fornicating in public and fornicating and condom use in that particular regards. Hey, I'm just throwing that out there. That's part of the news story. You know, don't hold me to it.
Radio.
Oops. What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, so there you go. The FAA slapped 10 unruly airline passengers with nearly $250,000 fines. Okay, I don't know if this is going to be realistic, but the fines were handed down, shouting, spitting, screaming, shoving, and throwing punches on board commercial flights. Flight crews were reported over 5,000 unruly passenger incidents since the start of this year, according to the FAA data. Over 70,000 of those 70,000. Listen to me. Over 70% of those incidents have been over mask. So here's the thing. Okay, so why would you hit me up with a fine of $250,000 where we would probably be of the opinion that most people cannot afford that? So we would be of the opinion of, how about you kind of give me a ban from being on an airline because, or put me on those, high risk flyer list. Because, I mean, I think that's going to be a little bit more realistic at the same time, too, opposed to this whole thing of, hey, I'm going to slap you with the Iggy here and then tell you, okay, this is what you can and cannot do. I mean, let's just be kind of realistic when it's all said and done. What is going to end up happening? Are they going to be able to? Why did these 10 people out of these 5,000 unruly passengers end up being the ones that were going to get fined for $250,000? Now, let's be real here. By no way, shape, or form is this any versionality of a justification of what they are doing, but is it a justification of what exactly is going on? I don't know. That's the question. That's why you and I get to hang out and talk. Okay, so Glenn Maxwell is not enjoying her stay at the Brooklyn Metropolitan Detention Center. In a bombshell interview, the British socialite claims that she has been assaulted by prison guards and is living in inhumane conditions while waiting her trial on sex trafficking charges. Jeffrey Epstein's alleged madam has complained about her food, poor sleeping conditions, and creepy guards who watch her shower since her July 2020 arrest. She also describes her furry roommates, aka rats, that scurry up the place. Maxwell said that she had pleaded not guilty on 8 counts and faces up to 80 years behind bars. She was also denied bail for the 4th time last week. So there you go. So did you watch the interview? Did you watch the bomb? Hold on. Did you watch the bombshell interview? I mean, did you watch it? I don't know. I did not watch it. I mean, I will tell you, with us hanging out in this temp studio as of late, it's been very difficult trying to keep up with what the hell is going on with the news. I'm not going to lie here. I mean, let's just be realistic. I like to keep it as real as possible as you and I have the discussion. But yeah, hanging out in the temp studio has not helped my daily news sourcing. I'm going to be, that's what's going on there. But did you get to watch it? I'm always curious about that. By the way, before I forget, because I know that last week I didn't talk about it a lot. So let's talk about it. The radio lines are still available at callinradio.com. So those have not went away. I did bring those with me. Here's the thing. Temp Studio is still working, callinradio.com. It's kind of a difficult one to explain, but as easy as once you get there. Text messaging, voice call, and video call all can be done at Call-In Radio. You don't even have to dial a number anymore. I've tried to simplify everything inside of life. And that's the way that it's actually going. Anyways, let's continue talking. A little girl has been reunited with her long-lost teddy bear. How did this even make it into the story? Naomi Pascal, 6, who had a stuffed toy since she was adopted at 2 years old, in Ethiopia, lost it while hiking on a trail at Glacier National Park last year. Thanks to her social media pleas from her parents and kind-hearted park ranger, the teddy bear made it back home to Wyoming in an elated Pascal last week. So hold on, let's go through this, because let's talk about the Iggy here, because it is an Iggy. So at no point did anybody kind of give any kind of consideration to just getting a similar doll. I mean, I'm just asking. I know it's a terrible thing to say. But was there no suggestion of that? Was there no thought process of maybe at some point, maybe this is what we should do, opposed to having the kid slightly be tortured because of that? Just asking.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, 24 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are still hanging out here on this lovely Monday. A new species of dinosaur has been discovered decades after the bones were unearthed. Scientists believe that the newly named, let's see if we can mess this up, Briastona Simmons roamed the earth for about 125 million years ago. It is estimated that the dinosaur was about 26 feet long and weighed around 2,200 pounds. The study surrounding the ancient creature was published in the Journal of Pathology. So there you go. There you go if you want to find out more stuff. Anyways, closing arguments will be made today in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers is urging people outside of the Wisconsin courtroom to avoid it and has activated the state's National Guard due to potential violence. It is possible that the verdict could come out as soon as today. Worth noting that as Evers has taken parameter to Evers during the 2020 riots, maybe this trial wouldn't have been happening, but that's a whole other story. And of course, that's an opinion-based thing, as you know.
Oops. What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, the Rockefeller Tree has arrived to New York City. The 79-foot Norway spruce was erected in Rockefeller Center on Saturday. The tree was plucked from the Price family home in Elkton, Maryland. The first time the tree has come from the state since the tradition began 8 decades ago. Listen to me, 8 decades ago. The lighting ceremony is set to take place on December the 1st. So be on the lookout. Can you believe this? I mean, we're talking about this, and I know it's kind of ridiculous, but we're already halfway into the month of November. I mean, let's talk about it. If you're here in the U.S., we're already talking Thanksgiving next week, which that reminds me, we're going to talk. Should I start talking already on what we're going to look like next week in regards to what we're going to be doing? So most people would vanish for next week. Well, I am not. I will actually be here Monday through Wednesday of next week. So I guess I'll throw that out there now. So we are not going bye-bye. We will be around hanging out with you, as we do here on the Rated R Safety Show. So don't worry about that. We'll be hanging out doing the things that we get to do together, because I think it's going to be important before we go into the holiday.
Duh.
So that way we can do some stuff together. You and I and whoever else, wants to hang out, do the things that we do, and then go from there.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, let's continue talking. Erin Jackson, 29, made history on Friday, becoming the first Black American woman to win the World Cup race in a long track speed skating. Jackson finished the time in 37.613 seconds in the 500-meter event. She also is the first Black American woman to make the U.S. Olympic team in 2018. So there you go. That all happened on Friday. So there you go. Anyways, currently 28 minutes past the top of the hour. I think it's time for us to move and groove and do the things that we do. So maybe it's time for us to do that thing that we like to talk about that we call our main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so here we are once again doing all the stuff that we do, hanging around, doing the things that we do here, there, over there, wherever we can get a hold of, and thinking about it. So if you took a look around this morning and you were hanging out and you were taking a look on las redes sociales, on social media, you might have caught the name of this episode. But if you're listening on the podcast version, well, you're definitely listening it to later in time. And if you're listening on the radio station, you're like, these things have a title? Yeah, they actually do, because that's what the podcasting networks require for us to do. And that's what some people want on social media. Don't worry, I have more difficult times actually coming up with the titles than anything else, but we can leave that for another day. But in talking about it and in giving it names and kind of coming up with the different things, we titled the episode today, El Dia De La Revolución. So what is that day? What does that mean? What does that mean? You know that dia is day, or most people know that. So ¿qué es revolución? So we're talking about revolution. Today, if you were in Mexico, using that as an example, today is the day of revolution. The day that Mexico was revolutionized, but let's not get too far into what's going on. But day in and day out, we talk about our world and the things that we do. We talk about our world and the stuff that we want to do and how we want to change the things that we are doing, how we want to have impact inside of the organizations that we work in, how we want to change the stuff that's going to happen going forward. But we always started off with one thing. We always started off with the same thing. We always started off with, how do we revolutionize what is going on? So what does the revolution look inside of your world? What does the revolution look like if you are hanging out right now this morning? What are you doing differently today that you didn't do before? What are you doing right now that is going to change the impact inside of the world of what you are impacting inside of your organization? Think about that real quick. We all want something to change, but we never know what to do. Or we have an idea, but we don't know how to set a revolution. We talked about this almost a year ago. I won't say to the day, but we were talking a lot about revolution during this time frame last year. And we talked about how we were going to revolutionize the way that things were impacted and the way that things are done. Have we done that in the year? Have you and I been able to say the things that we've done have revolutionized the way that we look at the industry of what we're doing? If we're going to be honest here, I'm going to say that the answer is no. And some people might be in shock about that. And the reason is, what are you doing differently? I think we got to the portion that we weren't sure what was going on during the pandemic, and by no means am I saying are we all done with the pandemic, so let's just kind of be realistic there. I don't want anybody to shy away from what I'm saying.
Duh.
But I want you to think about, we got accustomed to this new versionality of life, and we didn't want to rock the boat. And believe me, it's not about rocking the boat. But if you want things to change, you have to revolutionize the work environment. You have to revolutionize the way that things are actually going on inside of the workplace. And believe me, I'm not trying to say start a riot, because I know that that can become very confusing on what I'm saying. Not a riot, a revolution. A revolution's different than a riot. Things have to actually have an impact for things to change. One person, 2 people, 3 people, you get together, you start thinking, you start changing, you start going into this whole mental model of how things should be different. And believe me, it's not about, changing everything inside of the work environment, but it's step by step by step by step, talking to people that will listen. Listen, at the end of the day, I don't think safety changes that much between the different aspects of people, what they're trying to do. At the end of the day, I don't want people to go home hurt. I also don't want people to go back home in a box. That might be a little bit rough to say to some, but let's just be realistic. We talked about stop work. We talked about start work last week. Is that revolutionary thoughts? Probably not. But are there ideas out there that will revolutionize the way that your work environment is? Absolutely. But it has to start off by you doing one thing, and that's communicating. When people sit around and talk about that they have these long expectancy goals and they never know how they're going to be able to move forward and how they're going to do them, the only way that you're going to get it started is by doing the first step. The only way that you're going to get it started is by doing the first thing that needs to be done. Without doing that first thing, nothing's going to happen. Without doing that first thing, nothing's going to change. And inside of a revolution, that's exactly the same thing. It's an idea. It's a concept. It's something that you communicate to be able to move forward. Without any of those things, nothing's going to change. The world will only change if you help it change. One person's idea normally has to continue going on. And listen, just because you have an idea does not mean that it's the best idea, but having the communication of the idea with others could grow it. That's how that revolution changes. That's how that revolution starts. That's how that revolution goes forward. Is it easy? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But what are you going to do different today? That's just the question. The only one that can determine that, I wish I had a mirror for I could show you. Because that will be you. No one else. I can sit here and talk to you about this. I can sit here and communicate with you about this. But the one that determines if anything is going to change is you. Now that's really something to think about from a guy who's just sitting here behind a microphone.
What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
You know how sometimes in life you have those moments of shoulda, coulda, woulda, you know what I'm talking about. It happens all the time to people. So let's talk about that very sensitive subject of male pattern baldness. Don't go through that moment where you're going, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. Let's talk about my friends at Keeps. 2 out of 3 men experience some form of hair loss by the time they are 35. With more than 50 million men in the U.S. suffer from male pattern baldness. You don't have to be one of them. Think about this. There are only 2 FDA-approved medications that can prevent hair loss, and my friends at Keeps offer both. Keeps offers simple, stress-free way for you to keep your hair. Convenient virtual doctor's consultations and medication delivered straight to your door. I mean, I have to tell you, just for the whole sake of not having to leave your house to have the consultation, that should sell itself. But the low-cost treatments start just as low as $10 per month, and Keeps offers generic versions. Discreet packaging and proven results. Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors. I want you to think about that. People love the product. Prevention is key. Treatment can take 4 to 6 months to see results, so act fast. All you have to do to take action to prevent hair loss is to go to keeps.com. That's KEEPS.com/safety to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's keeps.com, KEEPS.com/safety to get your first month free. That's KEEPS.com/safety. Remember, not everybody has such a beautiful head as mine. So don't be saying coulda, shoulda, woulda. Act on keeps right now.
I've been feeling like the motherfucking man lately. Can't nobody do it like I can daily. Baddest in the land. Body turn your nigga to a fanny up. I made it where I'm at on my own. Had a couple blocks in the road, but I get to the bag on the low. I be counting stacks while they grow. Yeah, you know me, baby. Won't you keep me company? Give me something to do when I get lonely. I got something.
Okay, there you go. 40 minutes past the top of the hour. This is King Sis with All Love.
Stay solid one time if you lie with me. Just promise you never.
And this is available on Spotify and iTunes.
I know it's all love, everything good. Keep the vibes on crush. I know it's all good. Know it's all love.
Yep, always some good times around here with some of the music. Okay, so thank you to King Sis for allowing us to play this one here on the Rated R Safety Show. Okay, there you go. Anyways, all kinds of fun stuff going on this morning as we are talking, doing the things that we do. So let's talk a little bit more about some other stuff that is going on inside of this world, because I think that that's going to be important. Anyways, so where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? There's a lot of places to go, a lot of places to hang, a lot of places to go. So don't ask meow. It's probably not a surprise, but it's entirely possible that your cat is keeping tabs on your whereabouts. Not a joke. A new study of out of Japan has found that the stationary cat can mentally map the owner's location using audio cues, specifically of the owner's voice. Kyoto University researchers set up areas of a home to the cat cafe to see how cats responded to their owner's voices with visual cues. They piped voices through the speakers and found the cats reacting with surprise throughout the behaviors we'll hear and their head movements when the owner's voices seem to be teleport across the room. The conclusion is the cats have good spatial cognition, meaning that they can mentally picture where others are through sound. Of course, cats know where they are because what you're doing, they just don't care is really what it boils down to. Sure that, they may be tracking your whereabouts, but it's not like that she's going to do anything about it because, curiosity. I mean, my cat doesn't give a crap anything that I do. I mean, let's just be realistic. He just kind of hangs out and says, hey, I'll eat when I want to eat and I'll sleep pretty much the bulk of the day. That's kind of what it boils down to. Anyways, let's continue talking as it is 43 minutes past the top of the hour. At the top of the hour, by the way, before I forget, I will be moving over to RadioBig.fm. If you want to come out and hang out and do the things that we do over there. Some music and doing all that kind of fun stuff. Also, before I forget, yesterday, we dropped our second ebook. Yeah, second ebook. So if you're interested in it, it is available on safetyfmplus.com. And we have been focusing a lot with our ebook stuff about psychology. And last month was related to brainwaves. This month, we took a deep dive and focus on the different types of psychology that's out there. People might go, well, why are you doing that? What does that have to do with safety? Here's the thing. The different types of psychology that are out there will play a factor into what is going on inside of the world of safety. So I figured that if we started talking about those things, it might be easier to introduce them. It might be easier to understand the concept of what actually should apply inside of your workplace. So just something to think about. But like I said, ebooks are available. There's 2 currently there, available on Safety FM Plus. Anyways, the annual Global Grad show in Dubai is billed as the world's most diverse gathering of graduates, design projects, and to aim providing solution in social environmental issues. Some highlights of this year's event included a Sibidot, a solar-powered robot designed to sow seeds into the desert. It works on solar power and recharging during the day and moving on its 3D printed legs by night. Anyway, that's all the question. Depositing seeds that could help introduce plant life in new areas. Another new invention involves the catching of microplastics before they go out with laundry water. Clothing often contains plastic microfibers, which are shed during washing and can, end up with the rivers and oceans. The solution: a filter that's fitted on the front of the washing machine, which filters the water on the way out, preventing the microplastics from entering the wastewater system. So there you go. Just some things to think about. Yet somehow we still have factories to dump their wastewater directly into the water. What invention do we need that nobody has come up with yet? So I guess that's some stuff to think about. Anyways, let's talk about some good news. Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. A new newly developed drug has been shown to show reverse paralysis in mice with severe spinal cord injury. It promotes regeneration of severed nerves, and it appears on other vital tissues, allowing the rodents to regain the ability to walk within 4 weeks. Scientists from the Northwestern University say that they plan to go straight to the FDA to start the process of getting a new therapy approved for human patients who currently have their treatment options. Instead of getting the latest video game systems and meeting a celeb, a 13-year-old was diagnosed with a life-threatening illness and used his Make-A-Wish opportunity to help the homeless in his community. Abraham, I'm butchering his last name, of Jackson, Mississippi, was diagnosed with a blood condition, aplastic anemia, in 2020, and later underwent a bone marrow transplant and found that qualified to have a dream fulfilled by Make-A-Wish. With help of the foundation, Abraham fed about 80 people around Jackson in September. Not only that, the Make-A-Wish plans to help Abraham feed the homeless in Jackson once per month until August of 2022. Abraham did receive a few gifts from Make-A-Wish, including a laptop, a microphone, and help him start the YouTube channel. I'm not tearing up, you're tearing up. Anyways, a lot of stuff going on this morning as we are talking. I did tell you earlier that there were some conversation pieces of some things that happened between Elon Musk and Bernie Sanders. They got Bernie Sanders inside of the Twitter top 10 over the weekend, so let's talk about it real quick. Senator Bernie Sanders, who Sanders lipped off on Twitter over the weekend about the wealth inequality. He wrote, "We must demand that the extremely wealthy pay their fair share, period. That was it." Elon Musk chimed in replying, "I keep forgetting that you're still alive." So, I don't know. That's what's going on inside of the world of the swamp. It is currently 47 minutes past the top of the hour. No winner for Friday night's Mega Millions drawing. Tuesday's drawing will be for $63 million jackpot or a $45 million cash payout. No winner for Saturday night's Powerball drawing either. Tonight's drawing will be for a $180 million jackpot or a $130.1 million cash payout. So there you go. Anyways, let me bring Johnny Smalls in here real quick and let him tell you about what happened inside of the stock market on Friday with the Market Beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Monday, November 15th.
I actually get my system to work, and I understand what I'm supposed to be doing. Apparently, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Because that's what happens, When you hang out in the temp studio, that's entirely my fault. Nobody else's fault whatsoever. Let's just make sure that we're clear. Anyways, let's get Johnny Smalls in here with the Market Beat Minute.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Monday, November 15th, 2021. Equities finished the week strong last week, but are still down from the all-time high set the week before. This week, if the economic data fails to impress, the decline could deepen. The key report of the week will be the retail sales figure on Tuesday. But there are several reports that could move the market. Retail sales grew in the previous month, but were offset by a much larger than expected increase in inflation. And that is expected to be true this month as well. The question investors need to have answered is, how big of an impact are higher prices having on retail sales, and what does it mean for America's consumer economy? If prices continue to rise unchecked, the next recession could be just around the corner. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for the information of what was going on Friday, according to the market, because, you know, we always need to be on the lookout of what exactly is going on. Anyways, let's talk about what was going on inside of the box office over the weekend. I'll give you the... Do you want the top 10 or you want the top 5? Let's do the top 5. Let's do the top 5. At number 5 was Venom, Let There Be Carnage at $4 million, down from the number 4 spot from last week. At number 4, No Time to Die, down from the number 3 spot at $4.6 million. Dune was at $5.5 million, down from the number 2 spot to the number 3 spot. Clifford the Red Big Dog was at $16.4 million at the number 2 spot new this week. And Eternals stayed at the number 1 spot at $27.5 million. So there you go. That was what was going on inside of there. I'll make a reference to this because we've been talking about it over the last little bit, but Britney Spears is free. So there you go. A judge terminated her 13-year conservatorship on Friday without requiring any further mental evaluation, which is something Britney was adamant about. She is now cleared to marry her fiancé and have a baby and buy a new home if she so chooses. My question becomes this right away. Is she going to go back into recording some music and getting out there, you know, doing the tour thing again? Because it's been some time. You know, the last we heard, she was going to do another residency inside of Las Vegas, and voila, it didn't happen. I won't even talk about how I actually was standing in front of the door of where you could actually see Britney Spears at Planet Hollywood and opted at the last moment not to go in. Not that, you know, not that I would talk about that during the show, because nobody wants to hear that. So there you go. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back on this date in 2020, SpaceX Falcon 9 blast off for the International Space Station. 4 astronauts on board, 3 from NASA and 1 from Japan. So there you go. It's kind of weird because I remember actually being outside waiting for that because it's not that far from where I live, taking a look around and seeing the stuff that was going on and just being mesmerized on how beautiful it was in the sky over the weekend of what was taking place and all that kind of fun stuff. Anyways, let's talk about some birthdays that are going on real quick. Winston Duke turns 35, Sean Murray 44, Chad Kroeger from Nickelback turns 47. Johnny Lee Miller turns 49. E40 turns 54. So there you go. Some birthdays that are going on today, if you're so inclined on knowing that. If you're looking for some reasons to party, let me give you a couple of those real quick, because those are always important to talk about, you know, because everybody wants to party hardy and party wardy and all that kind of fun stuff. Because why wouldn't you? Anyways, today's National Bunt Day, National Philanthropy Day, National Clean Out Your Refrigerator Day. Oh, that's scary. National Spicy Hermit Cookie Day. Ooh. National Raisin Bran Cereal Day, and America Recycles Day. So there you go, all days that you can celebrate if you're so inclined to do so right now. Anyways, I think that I need to get Johnny Smalls in here one more time. Let him tell you about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote has been submitted by Nate. W. Clement Stone said, "Tell everyone what you want to do and someone will want to help you do it." I love this quote. I can also tell you it's true. If you have a big vision, be sure to share that vision with other people. Some will laugh, some will tell you it's impossible, but others will help you get it done. I've been on both sides of this. In the early days of COVID, a Facebook friend, someone I had never met in person ever, had a great idea for a gift card challenge. I reached out to see how I could help. We set up giftcardchallenge.org and had hundreds of radio stations spreading the word. It was not my idea, but I was absolutely happy to help. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlessaMorgan.com. Have you ever wondered if corporate wellness programs really work? The Kaiser Family Foundation's annual survey of employers found that 53% of small firms and 82% of large firms offer a program in at least one of these areas: smoking cessation, weight management, and behavior or lifestyle change. So how well do these programs actually work? Well, according to numerous studies performed on both small and large scales, corporate wellness programs did not reduce healthcare costs or change health behaviors. One common finding across the studies was that wellness program participants were likely already healthier and more motivated. Thus, a primary benefit of these programs to employers may be their potential to attract and retain healthy workers with low medical spending. For this and more information on wellness, please visit alessamorgan.com.
What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, 55 minutes past the top of the hour. Let me tell you about my friends at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or have lost a loved one, know that you're not alone. Hear about personal experiences from those in your local communities whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to afsp.org or call 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255 or text the word TALK to 741-741. There you go. Anyways, let's continue talking a little bit more before we get you out and about. Let's talk about did you know real quick. Going to sleep between 10 and 11 p.m. may protect your heart. The time you go to bed may affect your risk of heart disease, according to a report published by the European Heart Journal. Data from the 88,000 adults over 6 years was analyzed, showing the 12% greater risk of heart disease among those who dropped off between 11 and 11:59 p.m. and a 25% higher risk among people who fell asleep midnight or later. Falling asleep earlier than 10 p.m. was associated with 24% increase in risk. So I should get an alarm to make sure that I remember to go to sleep before 11 p.m. So there you go. Just some things to think about as we are talking this lovely, lovely Monday, 56 minutes past the top of the hour. If you need some whack facts real quick, I got some for you. If you're an average sleeper, you'll roll over about 12 times in bed tonight. So there you go. It is estimated that a new baby can rob parents of anywhere between 400 and 750 hours of sleep in the first years. Checkers used to be known as chess for ladies. Since 1945, the British tanks have come equipped with tea-making facilities. Despite the name, Iceland isn't covered in ice. Greenland isn't very green either. There is a village in Norway called Hell, and it does freeze over every winter. So there you go. If you need some scoops of BS for you, I got something for you. Taylor Swift sang for about 10 minutes, breakup song, All Too Well on SNL, mixed reviews. How did Taylor feel about her performance? Learn about it more on her next album. Retailer sales for the 1990s era clothing is staggering comeback. Here we go. Some consider the 90s pinnacle of pop music. These people are called Chumbawamba. So there you go. 16% of men said they give up sex to win their fantasy football league, but something tells me that if you spend your free time frenetically researching the Broncos' fourth string fullback, giving up sex probably wouldn't be that big of an adjustment for you. Just saying. Whoopi Goldberg turned 66 today, or turned 66 on Saturday. To celebrate it, she had a party with her two sisters, hoorah and hoopla. So there you go. What else do we got for you? A woman who had surgery to reduce her 36P breast to 36E cups. When asked why she did it, she said, "It was just something I needed to get off my feet."
What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, so if you need a random joke for today, here you go. If I had $1 for every time I didn't know what was going on, I would be like, hey, why am I getting free money? If you need a phone starter for today, try this one. What's the most embarrassing childhood memory? The one that still makes you cringe when you think about it. If you need something for the water cooler, try this one. According to a recent study, doing this for 10 minutes a day can take 10 years off of your biological age. What is it? Reading. So there you go. Anyways, you've been listening to the Rated R Safety Show exclusively on Radio Big and Safety FM. Thank you for coming out and hanging out this morning. We can't do what we do without you, the most important part, and that is the listener. If I can leave you with a thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. If the heat bothers you, plant a tree. If the water bothers you, plant a tree. If you like fruit, plant a tree. If you like a bird, plant a tree. Or in some cases, start a revolution. I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you. Mean it.
Duh.
And goodbye for now. I'm sure we'll meet again in the very, 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 very near future. If you want to come out and hang out with me and do the things that we do, I'm going over to radiobig.fm right now. Feel free on clicking over.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.